Today we're gonna do 2016 versus 2024 makeup trends and makeup techniques. Now, 2016 was a completely different makeup era than 2024. A lot of things have changed, such as trends and makeup products. So on this side, I'm gonna do 2016 makeup, and on this side, I'm gonna do 2024 makeup. And we're gonna talk about all the trends, how they've changed, why they've changed, and which trends are good for you. Now, we're gonna start off with eyebrows because I feel like 2016, we always did our eyebrows first. I feel like brow pomades was 2016 era. These were like the most popular eyebrow products. I still love eyebrow pomades because they give you more of that fuller eyebrow look. I use it sometimes if I'm going for a more thicker eyebrow look. The one that I'm using is by Anastasia. It's in the shade Ebony. I like to use an eyebrow pomade that matches the natural color of my hair, just so that it looks like my natural eyebrow hairs. So with this type of eyebrow look, I like to start by outlining my eyebrows. So I start from the bottom and then I outline the top just to give my eyebrows some shape. And then whatever's left on the brush, I just fill it in. Now, I only like focusing on the first half of my eyebrows, the tail, before starting with the front side, just because that gives more of a natural eyebrow look. Because normally the tail of your eyebrows are fuller than the front of your eyebrows. And for the brush, I always opt for an angle brush. You want to use a very small one just so that it's very precise. And then using what's left on the brush, I just like to feather it upwards very lightly because I want the front of my eyebrows to look very natural and hair-like. And then of course, we can't forget to clean up the eyebrows with concealer. I feel like this part of the eyebrow process was the most vital because it really shaped your eyebrows into how you wanted them. Even if you messed up, it just allowed you to clean it up to make it look perfectly shaped. Now, this eyebrow look is honestly not bad. I still like it, but it's just not how I like to do my eyebrows nowadays. In 2024, the most popular way to do your eyebrows is starting out with an eyebrow mascara, or you can call it an eyebrow gel. And this is used to tame your eyebrows, to make them go all in one direction, especially if you have really curly hair. This will get them to straighten up just so that you can see exactly where you want to fill them in. Then after, I like to go in with a brow pen to fill it in. Now this is gonna give you more natural, realistic looking hair. It's gonna give you more of that fluffy eyebrow look, which I love just because it looks more natural and it really goes with any type of makeup look. Now, do you guys remember the P. Louise eyeshadow primer? Yeah, we're bringing her back. This is a very popular 2016 eyeshadow primer. I honestly still love this primer, but I only use it for days when I'm looking for a lot of eyeshadow, like more of like a full coverage makeup look. This type of eyeshadow primer will get the pigmentation of your eyeshadow to show a lot more, just because it's very similar to a concealer, but it dries down matte and it really brings out the pigments of the eyeshadows. So I like to use a flat brush to blend it out, and then I'm gonna go in with a damp sponge, and you want to just absorb all the excess. This is gonna give it more of a matte finish and make the eyeshadows blend really well on your eyes. So going in with the Supreme eyeshadow palette by Prism Makeup, I'm gonna pick up this transition shade called Single, and I'm gonna focus that on my crease area and blend it in circular motion. Now in 2016, applying this eyeshadow shade on your crease was the most popular thing, just because it allows all the other shades to well transition on your eyelids. Then I'm gonna pick up this shade called High Standards. Using a smaller brush, I'm gonna focus that right on the outer part. This is gonna create more of that smoky eye effect. I'm also bringing this shade in towards the inner part of my crease. Now, it would not be a 2016 eyeshadow look without a cut crease. So we're gonna cut this crease. I'm gonna go ahead and use the P. Louise eyeshadow base. And I'm just placing a little bit at the back of my hand and picking it up with a small flat brush. I like to start my cut crease on the inner corner and a little bit above the creases of my eyelids. This is where the creases of my eyelids are, so I'm going slightly above. This is gonna allow the cut creases to show even when my eyes are opened like this. You'll be able to see that cut crease. When cutting my crease, I normally like to cut it in very small sections, and I move about 3/4 of the way towards the outer part of my eyes because it leaves a quarter of the space on the outer corner so that I can create create more of a smoky eye look on the outer corner. Now for the cut crease, we're gonna go in with this champagne shade, and using a flat brush, I'm just gonna pat that right on top of where I placed that eyeshadow primer. The eyeshadow primer allows the pigmentation of the eyeshadows to show more, so you don't have to put a lot on if you apply the eyeshadow primer. It gets the eyeshadows to be more vibrant and more colorful. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have not applied any eyeshadow in weeks. Yes, weeks, because I just feel like I've been very simple with my eyeshadow looks. I don't see a lot of eyeshadow makeup trends nowadays, so we're gonna keep it very simple for this side. I'm gonna start off with applying the concealer just to help neutralize my eyes. This is gonna help hide the discoloration on my eyes because we're gonna go in with foundation and concealer all over our skin. Now, once that shade is on, I normally just go in with a brown eyeshadow shade. So I'm gonna use the shade called Ravish. And picking up a little bit of that shade, I'm just gonna place it on my crease area. I'm basically placing it all over. This is gonna act as a bronzer, and it's gonna allow my bronzer to transition really nicely with my eyeshadow look. Then adding a simple eyeliner to lift your eyes is a go-to choice nowadays. It's super easy to do, and it just keeps your eyes looking effortlessly beautiful. Back in 2016, the spotlight was on thick and fluffy eyelashes, especially the style Miami by Lily Lashes. The trend has now shifted towards more of a natural and wispy lash look. So this one is more about simplicity and a wispy lash style, which is very popular nowadays. But if you're someone who prefers a vibrant, bold eye look, I would recommend trying out the 2016 eye makeup trend. But if you're someone who's inclined towards simplicity, I would suggest giving this 2024 trend a go. It pairs perfectly with the effortless eye makeup we've all been talking about. Now we're gonna move on to the skin. Starting off with primer, I'm gonna go in with a putty primer. This is more of like a poreless mattifying primer, which is what every single person used to use in 2016. It was either this or the Smashbox primer, just because it was more mattifying and smoothing. It allows you to smoothen out your pores so that you start off with a really smooth base. Now, personally, I'm still a fan of this type of primer just because it's what I go for if I'm looking for like a long-lasting makeup look without my T-zone area getting extremely oily. This type of primer is going to do that for you. But in 2024, a very popular way to prep and prime your skin is by using a gripping primer. A lot of brands have actually duped this primer because it's very popular and it's very effective in also getting your makeup to last. This primer is very different from the e.l.f. primer because it's more hydrating, but it also has a gripping texture that allows your makeup to grip onto your skin so that it stays put. So it's also a long-lasting primer, but it's just more hydrating for your skin. I feel like in 2016 we lacked hydration, but nowadays we like to hydrate over here. But we don't just stop there in 2024, okay? We have to add a little bit of glow to the skin. So I'm gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, and I like to apply this on top of my gripping primer because this is a foundation-like product. And this is the perfect base to get your skin to look really glowy. It's gonna allow your skin to glow from within, even with makeup. Now, you can use this as a foundation by itself if you're going for a more natural makeup look, but I like to apply foundation on top of this. Now, as you can see, my skin looks really nice and glowy, looks hydrated and really healthy, which we love. And in 2016, a very popular type of foundation is a matte foundation, just because everything was just matte. Like primer was matte, foundation was matte, powder was matte, everything was just like super full coverage and very matte. So I'm gonna go in with Soft Matte Foundation by Fenty. Now, matte foundations typically give you full coverage, so I would go for this if I'm going for more of a full coverage makeup look, maybe like a date night or a night out. I still love a good full coverage makeup look, especially if I'm doing like a soft glam look. It's more of a go-to makeup look if you want your makeup to last on longer, because the foundation and the mattifying primer is gonna help mattify your skin so that your skin stays matte all day long. It's also a perfect type of makeup look for winter time. Now, for foundation on 2024, I'm gonna go in with the Laura Mercier foundation. I'm gonna apply half a pump of foundation because I normally really use less foundation nowadays. I go for like more of a medium light coverage makeup look, especially because I already applied a complexion product before applying this foundation. Now, as you can see, this side is giving more glowy and light coverage compared to the side where it's giving a little bit more full coverage. Now, when it comes to concealer, I don't think the type of concealer has changed much from 2016. I always used to use a liquid concealer, but it's more about the technique of how to apply the concealer that has changed a lot. Now, in 2016, I always applied my concealer all over my under eyes in this manner. Now, the reason why I did it like this is because I just always wanted to brighten up my under eyes a lot more. And I thought applying excess concealer like this is gonna help brighten up my skin more. Now, personally, I don't think you need to apply your concealer like that. I feel like you can just apply it on the inner corner and outer corner of your eyes just so that it doesn't appear cakey, especially if you get creasing under your eyes. Applying less like this is going to allow you to cover up darkness under your eyes without it getting cakey or creasing under your eyes. Now, if you're looking to brighten it up, you can apply other products like setting powder to help brighten up your under eyes. You don't need to apply too much concealer. Now, this type of under eye concealer makeup look could work for some people, especially people who have really flat T-zone areas. Because I have big cheeks right here, I find that bringing the concealer all the way down here helps to accentuate that a little bit too much, creating a very unnatural makeup look after a few hours. But applying it like this allows me to only focus the concealer around this area right here without dragging it all the way down. It allows me to use less concealer and to be a little bit more precise with my concealer application. Now, this type of concealer look would not last on my skin for a long time, but everybody's different. This works for some people. This type of concealer look lasts all day for me without creasing and without getting cakey throughout the day. Now, for contour in 2016, it was liquid concealer, okay? You just had to get a shade that is your contour shade, so 3 or 4 shades darker than your skin, but more of a cool tone contour. So I'm gonna go in with the iconic London concealer in the shade Deepest Nude, and I'm just focusing this concealer on my cheekbones and blending it out with a sponge. I feel like contour was very, very popular in 2016, especially the Kim Kardashian makeup trend eras. So using a contour that was really dark was very popular. Now, this is gonna give you a very snatched makeup look. I feel like it pairs really well with a full coverage makeup look because we just applied so much foundation. It literally just wiped out all the dimension on our skin. So applying a contour shade that is dark enough to show up on your skin, looks more cool tone, gives you much more dimension, especially with the full coverage makeup look. Now I'm just gonna go in and blend out all the harsh lines from the contour, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of reverse contour to help snatch it a little bit more. But honestly, nowadays, cream bronzer is so popular. Like every brand has a cream bronzer. So I'm gonna go in with this Rare Beauty bronzer. This is in the shade On the Horizon. Now I'm just gonna place this on the same areas that I placed it on the other side. This is just a much more natural bronzer. So as you're blending it, you can see that it doesn't give you too much pigmentation. You can also use it as a bronzer or a contour because I feel like the shade is in the middle of warm and cool. It's giving more of a neutral shade. And as you can see, this side is giving more of that contour type of look. Powder blush was just all we ever used. So I'm gonna go in with this Essence Baked blush. Now, this is a very light pink blush. The reason why I'm using this one is because back in the day, there weren't a lot of options for deeper skin tones. All blushes used to look very pale and very ashy, if I'm really being honest. I feel like nowadays brands come out with more inclusive blushes, but back in the day, it was giving ashy. So I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of that blush and pat it all over my cheekbone. And I'm focusing it also on the apples of my cheeks because that is exactly where blush was always placed. But in 2024, all we're using right now is honestly cream blushes, especially very pigmented cream blushes. So I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. Camo liquid blush in the shade Very Well. Now I'm gonna blend this out with a sponge, but I'm using a small sponge just so that I'm very precise with the application. I'm also bringing this in towards my temples for that lifted blush look. And then whatever excess I have left, I'm gonna use a big bigger sponge and just pick up all that excess product. Then I always like to go in with my concealer sponge to get rid of any harsh lines around the blush. This is gonna help simmer down your blush so that it looks more natural. And as you can see, this blush is way more pigmented than this blush. It's the fact that I have to go back in with a sponge to pick up excess product what lets me know that blushes nowadays are really pigmented, which honestly we love, because if you're like 3 or 4 shades darker, you need a blush that actually shows up on your skin. And honestly, a blush like this just would not work. Now for setting powder, back in the day, a baking powder was very popular, so I'm gonna go in with the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Setting Powder. This is in the shade Blondie. Now the technique for applying setting powder can still apply today, just all depends on what you're going for. So I'm gonna go in with the sponge that I used for concealer, and after the concealer dries down a little bit, you wanna go in and blend out all the creases under your eyes before using this technique, because once you set your concealer and you have creases under your eyes, you're literally setting your creases. So immediately I like to go in with the powder and just place that right underneath my eyes. Now I'm using the baking technique because this is all we knew when it comes to setting powders. This would just give you more of a snatched under eye, and it's really gonna help set that concealer so that it doesn't move or get cakey during the day. Now this can work for people with combination skin or oily skin. It's actually really good because it allows the setting powder to absorb all those oils to give you more of a matte look. But if you have really dry under eyes, this might not work for you. Now in 2024, we're using pink powders a lot more, just because pink powders are supposed to brighten up your under eyes. Personally, don't think it makes much of a difference. I only see a difference when I have a more of a brightening concealer. So I'm gonna go in with the One Size Beauty setting powder in the shade Ultra Pink, and I'm gonna use this bad boy right here. This is a powder puff. Now I still like to do the same thing by blending out all the creases before setting my under eyes, and then I take the powder puff and I swirl it at the back of my hand. This is going to remove excess from the powder puff, because the powder puff can tend to pick up too much product. And then I like to just go in and set my concealer. Now I find that the baking technique is not popular amongst 2024 makeup looks. Nowadays I see a lot of people just setting their faces like this without baking. This works for me because my face doesn't get too oily during the day if I don't touch up my makeup. So if you have dry under eyes, this would work perfectly for you, just using powder puff and setting your under eyes without baking. Now of course with baking you have to let it sit for a few minutes, and using a fluffy brush you just want to dust that excess product under your eyes. Now as you can see, both sides will give you a very snatched under eye. The only difference that you're going to be able to tell is how it feels under your eyes. This side feels way dry under my eyes, feels almost uncomfortable. This side feels very comfortable and very natural. Now to finish off the eyes, I'm gonna go in with a nude eyeliner under my eyes. This is the ColourPop Fave Things Cream Matte Eyeliner. I'm gonna place this under my waterline. This was just something that you did to really help open up your eyes a little bit more. And then I'm also gonna go in with highlighter, especially powder highlighter. I feel like was something that you just had to have in order to finish off your complexion, to give your skin more of a glow, because I feel like we went in with a lot of matte products, so adding this highlighter is going to give your skin more of a reflective look. Now because this side is much more dewy and glowy, we don't need a highlighter. I actually find that a lot of people don't use highlighters as much as they used to back in the day. Same thing goes for me as well. I don't use highlighter every single day with every makeup look, especially if the makeup look is already really radiant. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and line my lips with a brown lip liner. Now the difference between the 2016 and 2024 is in 2016 we used to overline the top lip. I feel like this was really popular before lip fillers. Nowadays I don't even overline my lips. I just find it extremely unnecessary. It just makes your lips look super gigantic for no reason. And I feel like the overline can be really obvious. Now for 2016 we're gonna go in with a matte lipstick. Honestly, liquid lipsticks were really popular popular, but unfortunately I don't even have any liquid lipsticks anymore. But in 2024, honestly, all we've been using are lip oils. I feel like that's all brands are launching nowadays, just different types of lip oils. I'm gonna go in with the Rare Beauty lip oil in the shade Wonder. So in 2016, I loved going all out with the full glam makeup look, especially for nighttime events when I wanted to take some bomb pictures. I feel like this makeup look would be perfect for that. The aim was to make my makeup stand out, be vibrant, and create a makeup look that could last all day. But I believe in 2024, we all came to realize that we don't necessarily need heavy makeup every single day. I feel like it's possible to achieve a flawless appearance with a lighter and more natural, colorful makeup look. This is something that feels more achievable on a daily basis. But I'm curious to know in the comments which side is your go-to. And if you're looking to learn more beginner makeup techniques, then I would highly recommend watching this video right here, because in this video I share with you top 10 makeup techniques that you need to try this year.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'.